What's up everybody, Dead Girl here. Today we're at Universal Studios here in Orlando, Florida. With me is JD Ellis of Postmortem Effects.
What's up guys?
And we're going to take a look at some of the construction that's been going up for Halloween Horror Nights. We are less than a month away, so most of the stuff should be well on its way by now. So yeah, I'm excited. Can't wait to see what they've got so far. Soon as we stepped into Universal Studios, we're treated to some rigging for the lights for Halloween Horror Nights. Now, according to the Universal Studios official podcast, they did mention that as soon as you walk in, you will be greeted by Dr. Oddfellow. Now, he is the Horror Nights icon for this year. He's had his hand in creating many creatures, which some of the zones and some of the houses are going to refer to. So what we're going to do is we're going to walk in and we're going to head down to Hollywood first. And as you can see, there's some rigging up for some lights here as well. Whoop, whoop, whoop. So we continue to go. Now, rumor has it that there is not going to be a house in the former Shrek building, which is now the Minions, well, basically the new Minion ride. But right now we're walking in and there's all kinds of lighting galore. Let's get a little bit closer. So upon entering the Hollywood section of Universal Studios, the first scare zone that you're going to come across when you walk this way is going to be the Dark Zodiac.
Alright, so with the Dark Zodiac, Dr. Oddfellow has entered a dark dimension to harness the power of the Zodiac and live forever. He twists the signs into malvoyant beings who foretell your doom. As his star rises, yours falls.
Dun dun dun!
So we're getting transferred back to old Hollywood to meet the new icon, what are we going to say?
So it's... most of the houses in the scary zones for this event are actually all time-based. So we're going to travel through like the 30s, the 60s, we're going to travel through the 80s. We're going to travel through all different decades, which is really cool.
Who are we traveling with?
Well, we're following Dr. Oddfellow, of course. So as you can see, some of the lighting structures here, they've got some symbols etched into it. They've got some things set up. Like I said, we're less than a month away from opening night of Halloween Horror Nights, which is September 1st. I love seeing the signs. I love seeing the build-up. If you're a fan, it's always nice to kind of come to the parks and walk around real quick and check it out. And of course, pardon our dust. They're in the process.
But there's also
so this is going to be, I think, Sagittarius, because of the Archer again, and then there's the Ram, so I think that's also going to be Aries.
What, a lion for Leo?
And it does look like a lion for Leo, so it looks like they're kind of combining the little stage setups here. There's another one if we go further down the way, which we're going to explore just a second.
They could be storing other pieces.
They could be.
So maybe those are pieces for different ones and they're just all storing them on the individual stages. Hopefully each one will get its own representation.
Which would be awesome. It's a huge area, so they're probably going to have roaming characters. They're probably going to have folks set up on these stages, which is normally what they do. The Five and Dime is where you can go get a peek of Horror Nights merch. Let's pop into the Five and Dime real quick. So there's the Vecna shirt from Stranger Things, and then some of the Exorcist merchandise. Alright. I like the shirt. I noticed they're going a lot of whites this year, which is good because it's Florida and it's hot. But I also don't wear white, so it's not for me. But that is a rad design. Alright, we're going to get back out there. Out of the Five and Dime, there's another like little stage area set up here as well. In Hollywood. So this is going to be, it looks like Scorpio. That's cool. Scorpio, Pisces, and who am I missing? Cancer. So there's the Cancer sign. I'm really excited to see how they portray the Dark Zodiac. And when I hear Dark Zodiac, I automatically think of 13 Ghosts. And maybe this is Universal's way of giving a slight nod to it because 13 Ghosts was the Dark Zodiac. So maybe they kind of borrowed that a little bit. It's just my theory. It's not facts, folks.
We're not letting him out of it, though. We want our 13 Ghost house.
I do want a 13 Ghost house. But so far, we've got some really cool looking stage setups in the Hollywood area, and we're gonna head on over to Central Park. In towards Central Park, we've got La Bamba, which in the past they've had like the RIP little buffet in there where you can stop and grab some food and some drinks. Food is included, drinks are included with the RIP. And here it looks like we're heading towards Central Park. Now, what scare zone is this one, JD?
Jungle of Doom Expedition Horror. In the 1920s, Dr. Oddfellow ventured deep into the darkest jungle, performing horrific experiments on nature. Now his monstrous creations are running amok, and are coming after you.
Ooh, I'm loving this. This is gorgeous. Oh, look, they've brought back the Dia de los Muertos booth, so that indicates to me that we're going to be having some tacos, which is awesome. I liked their tacos last year.
Yeah, it's really nice that they, you know, they include the Day of the Dead along with Halloween, because I mean they go right side by side.
They're next to each other. All right, let's head in there. If that's a plane, this is rad. Now, as we wander in further, it looks like there's all sorts of areas where scare actors are going to be able to hide and attack. And it looks like there's part of a downed plane here. And like I told you guys before, we're traveling throughout the century, so this is 1920s. And there's part of that plane crash there, so I'm wondering if we're going to see some dead folks. I like how they've got the planters decorated throughout the zone. Look, it's bats. I love the bats. It's freaking bats. Those are really cool. I'm a fan of bats, so anytime you can throw some bats in, it makes my heart happy.
You come to the other side,
oh,
it becomes a cage with an opening for maybe a doorway?
Or maybe some victims?
Ooh, victims would
victims
be nice.
Would be nice. I'll let you guys know me. I love a good victim.
They also said they'd be experimenting on things, animals and people, so I think we're going to get some something really cool.
That would be cool. And then they're doing all the construction back here. They've gotten rid of Feifels Playland.
Wow.
Looks like they're doing a lot of stuff. Hold on, guys. It's crowded in the parks today and hotter than all get out. All the kids for us go back to school next week, so it looks like everybody's trying to get the last hurrah in.
Oh, they're here.
So E.T. is back here. Now, normally they have 2 house entrances back here, so I'm not quite sure how they're going to do it this year.
Well, we still have a little bit of time. I mean, they also had food offerings back here, so that completely eliminates all those booths on either side that were there if they keep this up during that time.
I'll be curious. I'll be curious to see what they do with it. I will point out that last year, Simpsons was kind of a safe area. Like, there weren't really any scare actors in here. Previously, it was a lot of fun because they had folks with chainsaws. They had the Romaine Chainsaw Horde. Those guys were so much fun. They had them like circus themed one year, so they had the Bearded Lady.
Paper color year.
A lot of rad stuff. So I'm hoping that they do something here this year. It would make my heart happy. And there's Doc Brown.
He's in 2023.
Doc Brown's in 2023. I knew it. I bet he took the train. All right. Okay, so I do apologize. Back by the Jungle Scare Zone, there was an entrance to a house. It's Universal Monsters Unmasked. There, you're going to descend the catacombs of Paris, where you, and of course your Scream Squad, get to try to handle some monsters. It's going to be Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, the Phantom of the Opera, the Hunchback of Notre Dame, and the Invisible Man, which is really cool because those monsters, I feel like they're not talked about as much as like Bride of Frankenstein's Monster or Frankenstein's Monster or Wolfman or Dracula. So I'm very excited to see this house that has some of those monsters in it. Let's keep moving and see if we can't find the next house location. Now, over by Men in Black, there's actually an entrance to one of the houses, which is going to be right here, and that is going to be for the Last of Us house, which is actually based on the video game and not the popular TV show. The video game is just as good as the show, and I believe it's going to be based on the first half of the video game, which kind of what the TV series was. So I'm very excited to experience this house here at Halloween Horror Nights. Continue to walk around past Men in Black over towards the Vacation Information Center. There's going to be the entrance for 2 houses. And the 2 houses that are going to have entrance to is going to be the Darkest Deal and then Dr. Oddfellows. And we're going to talk about them here in just a second. And also is going to be the show for Halloween Horror Nights this year, which is going to be Nightmare Fuel. Back here is where the Darkest Deal entrance should be. Now, blues musician Pine Straw Spruce will have to face the music after meeting with the collector and trading his soul for musical glory. And your squad, we are going to learn about the terrible price that he paid for fame. Very excited for this house. There's going to be tons of blues music. It's going to have that nice old feel to it. I'm very excited to see how they pulled this one off. And there's also another entrance to another house over here, and we're going to talk about that as well. The next entrance is going to be for Dr. Oddfellow's Twisted Origins. Your soul is a price that he's willing to pay. You won't be able to resist going inside Dr. Oddfellow's menacing menagerie of twisted oddities. But the price for you and your friends is steep. The cost of your souls to feed his immortal power. Now, Dr. Oddfellow is our icon for this event, and we may see some surprises in this house. Rumor has it, we're going to see Mr. Jack.
Yes.
Jack the Clown,
Jack
possibly.
Schmidt won't be the Jack that we all know and love. In fact, There's a story between him and Dr. Oddfellow that are intertwined, and that podcast you were talking about kind of goes into it a little deeper. So it's kind of interesting that we've got this new icon that ties back to an old icon, but it seems like he's going to be iconic in his own right.
And it kind of sounds like he's been pulling the strings. So we're going to link that podcast down below in the description box for you guys to listen to. Really interesting stuff. It's a great listen. Give it a go. But we're going to take you guys back. We're going to show you where Nightmare Fuel is going to be, as well as the rest of the scare zones and the houses. So let's keep going. Back here is that staging area. The metalwork for the sign has gone up, so here's where you're going to go to experience Nightmare Fuel. It's a very sexy, fiery show that you can experience. We're excited to check it out this year. And that is back here in the old Fear Factor stage. Now, the show that sparked your darkest dreams has reignited. Let your nightmares burn out of control as the pyro and aerial performers fire you up to the beats of metal and electric. It's going to be pretty awesome. Their shows in the past have been wonderful, so I'm really excited to see what kind of changes they have this year.
I want more fire and more spandex.
We all want more fire and spandex. All right, we're going to keep on grooving down this way. Heading over towards Potter, we've got some light fixtures set up here. Now, there's rumors that this year we may see some Death Eaters roaming back in the Potter area. Now, they usually do roam over on the Islands of Adventure side of the park, so if they're going to be over here in studios, it is going to be a first time. So I'm hoping that they're going to be here because we're always at Horror Nights, so we always miss them at studios, and I would love to be able to see them this year. As we're walking through Potter, they've got some boxes set up. Could this be for Death Eaters? Could this be something else? We'll find out in less than a month.
There's all that junk in that trunk.
There's a lot of junk in that trunk. JD with the horrible jokes. I do love the entrance into Diagon Alley. All right, we're gonna head now over towards past King's Cross Station, towards Fast and the Furious. We're gonna come across another scare zone, and we're gonna talk about that in just a minute. I'm walking through, it looks like they've got some setups back here. They're kind of probably put some bars up. They did that a couple of years ago, or maybe some food will go back in here. It looks like right now it's just a bunch of lighting structures where they're going to be putting some things. Coming in this way, we're heading towards another scare zone. We've made it to our next scare zone. Which one is this, JD?
This one's Shipyard 32, Horrors Unhinged. Under a 1940 San Francisco shipping yard full of mysterious crates and cages bearing Dr. Oddfellow's symbol. Beware, his nightmarish oddities have now escaped, spreading fear and chaos in their wake. Now, question, where did these monsters come from? Wasn't he experimenting on them when we were in the Jungle of Doom?
He was, so maybe these are some of the monsters that are carried over from Jungle of Doom, trapped in those shipping crates.
But this is the 1940s, wasn't that the 20s? So is he a time traveler?
He could either be a time traveler, or maybe he's discovered the key to immortality. Because remember,
has he discovered it, or is he searching for it?
He could be searching for it. In Origins, it is going to talk about how he kind of became
Dr. Oddfellow.
Dr. Oddfellow, and I'm assuming also how he became immortal, just like Jack the Clown. Those stories are very much tied together. And here's a little Easter egg for you. He kind of shapeshifts into different creatures. So when you're in these scare zones, he has a particular cut on his face that Jack the Clown gave him. Remember I mentioned that podcast, they talk about this, which was really cool. So Jack, during their fight, he cuts Dr. Oddfellow's face. Some of the blood drips into Jack, making him immortal as well, but he has scarred Dr. Oddfellow.
But that happens on the timeline, and you've got to figure out where it happens. It's not from the very beginning.
It's not, no, but they did say to keep an eye out in the zones for a creature or a man with a scar on his face, and that's how you know it is Dr. Oddfellow.
Yep, next up will be Chucky.
Let's get over there. So they've got some crates set up, not a whole lot here in this zone. There is a lot of lighting, so I'm sure we'll see more the closer we get to the event. So we decided to stop over at Chez Alcatraz and get us a Shark Attack. They have all kinds of Jaws stuff all over. And just to show you guys the drink.
Also, during Halloween Horror Nights, this is one of 2 bars that you're going to want to hit.
Because they do serve all your liquor drinks, and they're tasty.
Bartenders in the whole place.
There, and that Ocean Attack is delicious. I only have a couple sips because, again, I'm not a drinker, but JD enjoys it, so he's going to get one.
Make it with rum, but yeah.
He's making drinks. And we're talking Horror Nights.
Getting ready for that Horror Nights.
Getting ready. Got our tickets, ready to go.
Yeah, we may or may not have a special drink this year today.
You guys always, really? Oh!
Oh, did not, oh, I have to say that.
Oh, we hear nothing. Possibly.
Shifts.
Possibly some drinks.
A little specialty cocktail, maybe.
Ah.
Exclusive HHN.
Very cool.
Little there's a shark in the water, you better get to shore. Bruce is coming in for a little bite. Chop, 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 there's blood everywhere. Chop, 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 chop. I'll see you in the fog. Zombie shark.
We got our Shark Attack and an exclusive tip that Chez Alcatraz is going to have a specialty drink this year. How's that Shark Attack, JD?
Well, we call it the Shark Attack. Ocean Attack?
It's Ocean Attack. I like Shark Attack because they do
better.
the little sharky puppet thing, which is my favorite.
And it's, yeah, let's try some. The pineapple juice isn't overwhelming. The coconut rum balances perfectly. The blue Curaçao adds a little bit extra flavor to it.
You can't taste the alcohol, which is a dangerous thing. I am not a drinker, so I can usually taste the alcohol pretty good, and that one I really can't.
Sneaky.
But it's delicious, and I highly recommend that you try that over here at Chez Alcatraz.
Make sure you balance it out with some water, though.
Yeah, 1-to-1 ratio is
Yes.
usually good, especially if you're coming during Halloween Horror Nights,
Hydrate,
because
hydrate.
even though it's nighttime, it's still ridiculously hot here. All right, we're gonna keep going towards over by Fast and Furious, and there's some other houses that way, so let's go. Over by Fast and Furious, there is an entrance to a house, just like last year. If you guys were here and remember where the Blumhouse house was, is gonna be Chucky's Ultimate Kill Count house. Now Chucky's back for even more carnage. Chucky the serial killer doll is back for a new gore fest. He's hijacked his own haunted house with all kinds of bloody hijinks, and you and your friends must try to survive the ultimate kill count. Now Chucky's been at Horror Nights quite a few times. They've done a couple of photo ops for him, which is fun, and this is actually the first year in quite some time that he's had his own house, so I'm excited. It promises to be a gore fest, so I'm anticipating lots of blood and guts, and I'm also anticipating that this is probably going to be a house that we may not survive.
Yeah, and something that's also kind of interesting. So Dr. Oddfellow is searching for immortality. Now Chucky's doing the same thing. So we kind of have a theme going on here for eternal life.
But I mean, didn't Chucky already score eternal life? I mean, think about it. He trapped his soul in a doll, and he's been in that thing since like the 80s.
But
so
they always find a way to kill him, but he always finds a way to come back.
Exactly. Hence why I think that Chucky's already found that gift of eternal life.
So him and Dr. Oddfellow need to have dinner together, is what you're saying, basically.
Yes.
Exchange ideas.
Yeah, they could be. So it's getting a little windy out here, a little overcast. It may rain shortly, so we're going to try to get through the rest of these scare zones and houses. The next thing that we're going to come up is going to be a scare zone.
Yes.
And that's going to be in the New York area,
Yeah, so
over by Finnegan's.
we're seeing something come back. We're time traveling again a little bit.
Yes.
And
Well,
if-
let's talk about that when we get over there.
Okay, but
I don't want to talk about that just
in
yet.
between, we're time traveling right now. So
So yeah, as you're walking through to the next zones, we're doing some time traveling. Let's get over there, and we're gonna jump ahead to 1969.
wait, we're gonna need a phone booth.
Oh,
Crap.
there's no phone booths. We're gonna have to do it the old-fashioned way.
Matrix style.
Matrix
phone.
style. For Music Fest 1969, and boys and girls, the vampires are back. I could not be more excited. If you guys remember Vamp 88, there was another one. What year was that? I forget what it was. There was 88, but there was another Vamp scare zone. I want to say it was like in the 50s. This one is going to be
Would have been what, around 2019?
something like that, yeah. So this one is going to be 1969. They've got the Bus of Love out. This also follows in with Dr. Oddfellow. He was getting in with the vampires so that he could gain that immortality that we had talked about previously. So they've got this big, beautifully painted hippie bus, which I'm kind of digging. So I wonder if they're gonna have vamps in the bus. That would be a lot of fun to have them in and out. They've got a stage set up. We're gonna go get a closer look of that. They've also got some booths set up, so I wonder if they're gonna have some kind of spooky games or something. So last year they had food tents lined all along this way, and I don't see any set up yet. They've also got some more lighting rigs here. Now over here is where the Universal Tribute Store used to be. Rumor has it that that is not gonna be the case this year. It's actually gonna be over where the Jurassic Park Tribute Store is. And there's that big stage for Music Fest 1969. They've got some bongos, they've got guitars. Let's get a little bit of a closer look real quick, just to show you guys. So there's some guitars. Are we gonna have like vampire musicians? Because that would be really rad. So this, I'm gonna anticipate to be the favorite scare zone. Everybody loves vampires and everyone loves a music fest. So this one should be a lot of fun. All right, it's my most anticipated scare zone and probably gonna be my favorite. That or the Dark Zodiac, so we'll have to wait and see. Now next to the stage, they've got some motorcycles. Oh, please give us like motorcycle vampires.
Or vampire slayers. If you remember many years ago, after the Terror Queen was the Terror Queen, she was actually a vampire slayer. There was a team of them that rode around here on bikes and just completely slayed out. It was amazing.
I forgot about that. So maybe they'll be vamp slayers. Who knows? Anybody on motorcycles is gonna make me happy.
Anything but Twilight, we're good.
Anything but Twilight. So that's pretty awesome, which also adds to my excitement for Vamp 69 Scare Zone. We found another motorcycle. Oh, excitement is building.
So back here is going to be one of the most anticipated houses of 2023.
Stranger Things?
Stranger Things 4, you got it. And right next to that is going to be the Blood Moon Dark Origins. You can read it.
So as JD was saying, back here is going to be the entrances for Stranger Things 4, which is going to be based on Vecna's Curse. Very excited for that. This past season of Stranger Things was definitely one of my favorites. They've had Stranger Things here before for 2 years, so this is going to be their 3rd year. Now this one is trying to escape Vecna's curse. You'll need your squad to resist Vecna's gruesome curse like 11. Now's your chance to stop him once and for all as you take on the scariest season of Stranger Things yet. And I'm just saying, if Running Up That Hill isn't playing throughout the house, I'm going to be slightly upset. Because they need to play it in the queue line in the house. Something's got to happen. But I'm excited for this house.
Good for that one, but you better give me some Metallica.
Oh, dude. All right, so hear me out. Either somewhere in the house or the beginning. The ending would be great.
Play it through the whole thing.
Just play some.
The whole thing, I'll be happy.
Play some Master of Puppets.
Yes.
Okay, so Master of Puppets, Run Up That Hill. We better get both of those songs in this house or I'm going to be slightly angry. Now let's talk about the other house that's coming to this area. So over here, the next house that we're going to talk about is going to be Blood Moon Dark Offering. In a colonial era village, moon worshippers witness a blood moon at their fall festival. They take it as a sign to hunt down any non-followers, including you and your Scream Squad. Bleed for the blood moon. Now this is interesting. Why is this interesting? We're going back to the colonial period, something that we're familiar with.
Yeah, we're time traveling again to the colonial era, and Universal's done other stories with that. In fact, I believe, wasn't Roanoke?
Roanoke was colonial, and that is still one of my favorite houses that I've been through, because that one amped the gore factor like nobody's business. We did the behind this, well, I did the behind the Screams tour back many a moon ago. This is before JD was a part of my life. That house was pretty awesome. So I'm excited to see what they're gonna do with Blood Moon. I'm expecting some gore. I'm really hoping for some werewolves.
I don't know if it's going to be werewolves,
but it's not werewolf oriented. I hear Blood Moon, I think of werewolves. This one is based on a cult. So let me retract that statement. I would hope that there would be werewolves, but it's going to be cult members instead, which is totally fine. I love a good cult.
Yeah, a lot of people were saying that it might be vampires, it might be werewolves, because they think Blood Moon, definitely for our first thought was werewolves.
Yeah.
They're saying cult, but what kind of cult? If it's the cult of the moon, I mean, they could transform into just about anything. It'd be nice if we had some as long as it's gory.
I'm curious to see where they go with this. We're going to keep walking, and there's a couple of other house entrances that we want to kind of show you where they're going to be, and we're going to talk about them as well.
Giggity. All right.
So I'm going to backtrack a little bit. We came back here by Vamp 69 because the entrance for the Dueling Dragons house is back here. Now that's something that I would never have thought I would say. Dueling Dragons, for those of you that remember, was a dueling roller coaster that was amazing over in Islands of Adventure. So here's what we're going to talk about with the house. Now the Dueling Dragons house, Choose Thy Fate, has 4 different outcomes. No matter who you choose, you lose. 2 warlocks of great power were turned into dragons after trying to take Merlin's spellbook. Now when you and your friends are caught in their epic battle, you must choose a path and a victor. Think about that. You can go through this house four times and have 4 different outcomes. Now I've seen a house do 2 different outcomes, but 4 is something brand new, which means we're gonna have to choose a different path each time we come so that we can see those different outcomes. That's really cool.
Yeah, last year with Universal Monsters, they had 3 different ones. Well, 3 endings, if you will, because you had all the different monsters that might have won.
It was the same path, though.
Yeah, with this, we're picking a champion, which is either going to be one or the other, and then a path. So I guess 2 of them will have 2 paths each.
That's what I'm assuming, like fire and ice. So I'm assuming 2 fire paths, 2 ice paths, because I mean the ride, of course, was fire and ice. I loved both sides of the ride for separate reasons, so I'm very excited to see how they're going to do this house and how they're going to separate all 4 of these potential endings. So this is definitely a house that I'm very curious to experience.
Yeah, I'm also curious, are we going to die and live? Like, is one you die if you go down that path, the other one you live? That'd be kind of cool if they celebrated a victory on one side and you were just on the other. That's
a good point. Or because there's 4 different paths, let's say you choose a path, you choose one, and then your second choice you die, or your second choice you live. So it's gonna, the outcomes are insane. So I'm very excited for this one. We're gonna turn around and we're gonna head back down through New York towards Minions and towards where some other entrances are for some more houses. We're heading down towards Minions and that big stage area. Now this stage area you guys may recognize because normally they do the little windy, twisty, turny barricade action happening. Usually, that's my official term. Usually this station here is set up for some kind of themed food, which I'm sure they're probably gonna do again this year. Following at JD so we can get over towards this next entrance here. Doo-doo-doo. Coming up on it, Minions Cafe, which is delicious, by the way. So over here is gonna be the stage. Now here they will set up the queue line. It'll do the little windy switchback basically, and it's gonna take you back to the house back there. And that's gonna be the Exorcist Believer. In Evil Reawakened, 2 missing girls have been found with no memory of what happened to them. But whatever they went through, the ultimate evil has returned with them. Enter the most terrifying house. Now, the Exorcist film does not come out until like mid to late October. So this house is gonna be a bit of spoilerish. I'm really curious as to how they're gonna do it because the movie's not out yet. So we're probably gonna be treated to some spoilers. So be prepared for that when you do go in. You can't really do much research. You can watch the previous Exorcist movies and that might help you to get an idea.
Really quick, show them Florida behind us. So you see
I will, hold on.
Sky? Where do you see what comes up behind you?
Look at this. And then behind us
Florida
is rain clouds that are coming. And Minions. So our goal is to get through this without getting drenched. So yeah, so the Exorcist, the entrance to that house, the line's probably gonna start here. Again, you're gonna do the switchbacks here and then you're gonna go into the house that way. And the last house entrance that we're gonna look at is gonna be Yeti, and that's gonna be down over here by Minions. If you remember where Hellblock was last year, that is where Yeti's gonna be. Now keep in mind, all of this information that I'm giving you guys, at least as far as the house locations goes, is gonna be based off of the speculation map that is done by our friends over at Horror Night Nightmares. So please keep that in mind as I'm giving you this little tour. Area here is going to be that Dr. Oddfellow's scare zone with all of his creations. Over where the lighting structures are is where he's going to greet you as you walk into the park. So if you're coming in from the park entrance and you go to your left, that's going to be the entrance for the Yeti house. And we're heading over there so that we can talk about that. Which last year, Hellblock entrance was right here, so I believe Yeti is going to also be here this year as well. Back here, Yeti Campground Kills. Yeti or not, here they come. You and your friends are about to venture into a 1950s campground overrun by huge menacing Yetis who rip apart anyone who gets in their way. You must flee to the Ranger Tower to escape. But will you leave this house alive? Now, they brought Yeti in originally as part of Slaughter Cinema.
Yes.
They brought in variations of Yeti. They brought in Swamp Yeti. They brought in the Winter Yeti.
At the cell block last year, whatever that house was.
It was Hellblock.
The Hell Block, not Cell Block, Hell
Yeah.
Block. They had a Yeti that was actually in a cage and you
Yes.
had to walk around, so there's another nod to it. Now, the funny thing is, Yeti is the universal word for Sasquatch, skunk ape, any of the other ones. So they kind of interchange it. It's kind of an inside joke, if you will, that they keep calling these things Yetis, even though they're obviously not Yetis.
No, but I'm not mad about it. I do love a good Yeti, so I'm definitely excited to experience this house. Very much looking forward to it. I've enjoyed all the Yeti houses that they've done so far, and I anticipate this one is going to be no different.
Yeah, I would love to see some more Slaughter Cinema stories told.
I really
We need
would.
a Beast Baby house.
Give me Beast Baby,
Give it to
Universal
us.
Studios. If any of you from Creative are watching this video,
Yeah.
give me Cult of the Beast Baby for the love of God.
Now there was a nod to it.
Give me that
We
one.
went through the pumpkin house about 2 years ago, and Beast Baby was
yeah,
actually
Beast
in the
Baby
witch's
was-
basket.
he
The witch had
was.
captured Beast Baby. Where is Beast Baby now? We gotta know.
He's Roman Studios.
2024, Beast Baby.
Beast Baby, hashtag Beast Baby 2024. All right, gang, we are getting ready to head back out of the park. It is
Getting ready to Florida.
It's getting windy and getting ready to storm out here, and we want to make sure that we skip that one, so we're going to skedaddle. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. We appreciate it. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Feel free to share. Feel free to subscribe. Thank you guys for your views and your time, and until next time, keep it spooky. Bye.